Alright, here we go. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic lessons known classics. This is episode number 33, 29, and Doubleshot number 32, 23. I have a Dark Horse trade and a Viz Media. Well, it's Star Wars, actually. From Dark Horse, we have Mike Mignola, we have Baltimore. Yep, this book is, well, it's written by Mike Mignola and Christopher Golan. Now, this book is not technically set in the Hellboy universe. Not necessarily, no. Baltimore himself, basically, this is basically just another series written by Mike Mignola because he has so much success with Hellboy. This is the first of trades for Baltimore. This is basically the story, of course, is Plague of Ships. This is basically the first line for this series. Plague of Ships is just a 5-issue miniseries, which is basically the first 5 issues of the book. It is, well, written by Mike Mignola, co-written by Christopher Golan, artwork by Ben Sembach. Of course, like in the case of another book, I actually have the book, I haven't read it yet, but this book actually started originally as a novel that was later turned into an ongoing series. I mean, as far as I can tell, this is set in a different universe. Let's see here. Okay, I think I know where to look for this one here. Alright, here we go. Yeah, so Plague of Ships is the first trade for this one. Now, if you're like really curious, so the last thing that was published for Baltimore was actually back in 2017. This is the first of how many trades? Roughly 8. Yep, first of 8 trades. Yep. Yes, this lasted roughly for 10 years, but it was basically a comic book. So it starts off in Balance-Premonition. It's basically, we're in August 1916. So basically, we're in World War I. Think of this as an alternate take on it. So basically, it's this guy Baltimore, and he basically is doing German vampires. Yep, German vampires. And basically taking out a blimp. And from what I read, apparently the series itself takes place over the course of the skipped over years in the original novel, which I have it here. I haven't read it yet. But it's only 2 novels I can think of Mike Mignola's ever written. The other was for a character. Okay, so it's part of the same universe as it's called the Outer Universe. The other is Joe Golem. Yep, Joe Golem is set in a Ultiverse in New York City, where it's partially flooded. This is part of the outer verse stuff. Yeah, basically, like I said, covers missing period of time. So we basically just see him where he's trying to deal with all the vampires in World War I. But just really cool artwork here. I love the artwork here by Ben Sembach, which is really good. Just check the book out. You might actually really enjoy it. Yeah, it's just, like I said, basically just, of course, investigating some ghost ships, but basically a lot of time battling vampires. Which, cool stuff. Gave roughly 9 out of 10. Next up we have is Star Wars, The High Republic, The Edge of Balance-Premonition. Yes, a Viz Media High Republic book. Well, it's basically a manga, but Star Wars. Weirdly enough, it's not published by Marvel. No. It's written by Danielle Jose Older. Mostly put, it is just... Well, it's a very short book. It is set during the main series. Yes. Mostly put, it continues basically to fight with the knowledge that those species introduced in the High Republic book, and this is just a side story for that. That's kind of the basis of this thing. But not really much else to say about it. The thing is, the High Republic is, there's not a lot to talk about with these books per se. I mean, Baltimore I really enjoyed, but in the case of High Republic, I have nothing really to say about High Republic at all. Not really. I only got it purely because basically, well, it's mostly put just Yoda working with these Jedi Knights to fight these creatures, and it's basically a good adventure for Yoda. That's the best way to describe it. Yep, and Yoda's basically the high character. He's the only character I'm familiar with here, because that's the ultimate problem with High Republic, is that they introduce all these brand spanking new characters, and the problem is they're not, like, Yoda's interesting, he's fine. But the new characters, they're not interesting at all to me. But the best thing about the High Republic books, they've got really good artwork. Yep. Excuse me. Would this book be necessary for the Star Wars canon? It's up to you to decide that. Yep. So yeah, that's the particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up, basically, we have more adolescent book form. Okay? Thanks, Phil. Bye.